Hey everyone, Dan with HRT, and today we're on the range. We've been shooting the Jawless Hog tacticals while we do some demos. I'm just kind of work over and show these to you guys and let you see what they look like. As you can see here, you do have a little circle finer aiming point or a zeroing target up here on the top left. These are 1-inch boxes, so you're able to adjust your red dot or scope as you're using these. You can also use them to zero a laser if you are able to line the barrel up and such. You can see where that's going to hit. This is also awesome, and we'll move on to this in a minute, showing height over bore. So if you're doing practice where you're starting at maybe 3 yards and working back to, let's say, 25, and seeing where your actual impacts are with your red dot in the center, it's really important when you have to take closer end shots to make sure you know exactly where your round's gonna go, since your optic is up here, but your barrel may be down here. Other things you can see on here, we have multicolored and labeled boxes, triangles, rectangles, circles. These help us to, especially working with a partner, set up more intensive drills that make you use your brain a little bit more. So instead of just shooting a circle on the sheet here, my partner might say, hey, you're gonna shoot the brown A box, and I gotta think, where is the brown A box, and then engage that target. So they might say 2 rounds in the yellow 2, 1 round in the orange 1, and 2 rounds in the blue square. So maybe that's the drill. So I gotta now think through that, not just I'm pulling the trigger on the paper, I'm thinking about what I'm shooting, and it's making me work my brain, not just my trigger finger. So it allows you to strengthen yourself as a shooter and grow using those different drills. We also have this excellent silhouette in here with a lot of the organs highlighted in there. So we have our T-box, our spinal column, heart and lungs, and then the pelvis shot. So if you've been trained to the chest, 1 in the head, or pelvis, you've got that all modeled there. Roughly a 1-to-1 scale here. So this is an excellent little feature. Lets you see what you're aiming for, as opposed to just, I'm gonna hold center chest. Why am I holding center chest? And showing us those things. Also in here are these 2 side heads here. I'm not gonna really I'm not gonna say it's a hostage target, but it does allow you to have the lower probability or smaller target work that you can fit in here, knowing, hey, this is a no-shoot zone, but this is my target. Maybe it's for competition, maybe it's for duty use, but these have been modeled in here nicely for you. You also have their logo up top. That's more than just a logo, that's extra target space. So if you've done really well across the rest of the sheet, maybe you want to start taking out the letters, the night vision, maybe the nostrils, things like that. So maybe you're working distance with a scoped carbine, there's some extra work for you to put in. So we're not going to take too long with this, but let's talk about a little height over bore, and then we'll work on to maybe doing some drills here. I'm going to stray away from shooting these edge pieces just because we're on the wood there, and I don't want to shoot the range's wood. They've been so gracious to let us use this place. So let's try out at about 5 yards, and we'll put a couple rounds on with the rifle. So I do have an EOTech, which has that bottom ring. So I have my center dot, and then I have my bottom ring, and that's where I would shoot at about 7 yards. For the sake of the drill, I'm not gonna shoot there. I'm gonna hold it in the center of that circle with the center dot to show you how low that impact is gonna be. So if we go down here and take a look, we're about 5 yards, and this is where those hits are going. So my center dot being up here, that kind of bottom ring that's in the EOTech is hitting down there. So this shows me if I'm at about this distance, I can't just hold center on that dot because I'm not going to hit what I'm aiming for. So maybe let's go back to 7, and we'll do the same thing again. It should be a little bit higher, not by much, but just a touch. So I can see it from here. I actually threw one, but the other one is about 1 inch low as opposed to 3 inches low that the first one was. Now if I bring my bottom of my ring up, those are in that actual circle. So now we've kind of learned where the height over bore is. And I would recommend, if you have the time, go all the way back to maybe 25 yards and learn where your gun is up until it's 0, and then if you got the chance, go beyond it and shoot it further. This EOTech has the double dot in it, which I'm not a huge fan of, but we have used it out to about 500 yards, which is pretty impressive for a 10.5. It has no velocity, but it's fun. So maybe let's do some to the chest, 1 in the head drills from here, just using that silhouette that we've got. So my 2 torso shots were good, but my head shot was a little high. Oh, same thing, I'm over driving. There we go, that was a better one. So this allows us to see our hits, but also see anatomically where they would be, which is a really nice feature on this target. Let's go back a little bit further and we'll do the same thing. This kind of lets us see our targets at distance, and I can walk down there and see where my hits are. So I'll just do maybe one shot, just a couple different ready up type drills. And I would also say, hey, while you're doing this, do different carry positions, ready positions, things like that. So as you're working on these, see where your hits are and diagnose what you're doing, maybe right or wrong. So I know the couple of those I pulled off to the right, so I took my time on the next couple and slowed down, saw where they're hitting and fixed that. So that's an excellent part of this target. You're able to see all these hits on the body to know where you'd be aiming in maybe a real life engagement. So we've done some shots with the rifle. Let's set that aside. We'll do some with the pistol. We'll move back down a little bit closer and we'll wrap this up. So something that I like to do with pistols, I do it every single time I go out with my pistol, is I practice both hands by themselves and I work on my trigger control and my sights. This really helps me to build a foundation as I'm going to the rest of my range day to make sure that my grip is okay and my sights are okay and my trigger is okay, and I'm isolating them as much as possible before I move on to one reload ones and build drills and things like that. So very simple. It literally just looks like this, and I find something small, so I'm going to go for that brown A, and I'm just going to take my time nice and slow, and I want good shots on those targets. Then I would switch. One got loose there. And then I usually go back to both hands. It's kind of a culmination. So this allows me to kind of work on my trigger. So if you saw my left hand, I jerked one out to the right, and with my right hand, I set one a little bit high. So I was able to identify when shooting, why I did that, and then fix that. Usually this is like 3 to 7 yard drill, and then I'll step it back a little bit further as I start shooting more. But this allows me to get really up close and figure out maybe if I have any deficiencies before I'm 150 rounds in and wasted all that money. So I've got one round left in this magazine. I'm dry right now, so we'll just shoot this. Maybe we'll do a headshot here from the holster. Threw him off to the side there a little bit. All right, guys, well, this has been Daniel with HRT, and this has been the Jawless Hog tactical target here. As you can see, we've made use of a lot of different spaces on this target, gotten some drills in, rifle and pistol. So it's a great tool. These are really cheap to buy, just a big roll of them. So I highly recommend grabbing those, throwing them in your car for the range day, taking buddies out, whatever. So excellent target, great use of it. We've shot like 3 or 4 of them throughout the day today, so they're great pieces of kit. So thanks for checking out the video, and we will see you on the range.